Hans Westman here. We are going to continue working on Blender and do another exercise to introduce some of the different tools which we have in Blender, as well as different aspects of box modeling technique. So let's get to it. This time we can actually start with the auto-generated cube which has been created when you open up the program. I want to start out first of all by hitting the Tab key to go into the edit mode, and hitting the number 3 brings me over to the face select mode. Everything is already selected, as you can see, which is good. Right click, subdivide, and we will leave it at 1 at this point because we don't really need more. So if I click on these top polygons, left mouse button, hold shift, and then the letter E for extrude, I can bring this up just a little bit, and I'll explain why later on in this example. One more time, we're going to extrude, bring it up a little bit higher, about here, I guess. And then we can go to scale and bring this down. Just to let you know, what we're going to do is try to get some form of bottle, whether it's plastic or glass or whatever, but it's the shape that we're concerned about at this point right now. I'm going to, at this point, also continue to work with my extrudes there, and then one more time, and let's bring this up a little bit closer so you can see what's going on. Scale here, and we can bring it down just a tad like this. E, one more time, E, one more time, and then scale this in on the X and the Y, just like this. All right, so let's now go ahead and delete these top polygons, X, and delete faces. We can see the inside or the back side of these polygons, so as a matter of good practice, what I'm going to do is go up to the viewport shading, drop-down menu here in the upper left-hand corner, go down under options and select back face coloring. Next, I want to transition this square shape to circular, or at least as close as I can. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to first go to the tilde key, and I am not going to go to the tilde key, excuse me, to the Z key, hit wireframe, and that way it's easier for me to select all of the vertices which are here. And Control, oops, that's not what we wanted. Make sure we go to select so nothing like that happens. Control is what we want here. Okay, there we go. Have to be in the vertices mode to do what we want to do here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Control once again, and then go to the top view by hitting Z. Now I can go to the scale, and in X and Y, I'm going to bring this down to a circular shape. Middle mouse button, holding it down, I can get back into the perspective view. There we go. All right, Z solid, so I can see what I have now, which I think looks pretty good. Let's go to the bottom now and work with that one. So I'm going to go to 3, and then click Shift with the left mouse button, and E to extrude, X and Y, E just so slightly. This is the bottom of the bottle, so to speak. E, like that. And then one last one here, E. Okay. So now we're kind of getting to where we want it to be. I'm going to work with the shape a little bit more. Hit 1, so I'm back into the vertices mode. Z, so I'm back in wireframe. And I want to select all of these, move these up. We don't want to scale because it'll distort the shape. We just want to move these instead. And maybe I can select all of these, scale these together, about like that. And maybe, yeah, I think we're okay with that now. Okay. Z, back to solid. Now we're into we have our basic shape. Okay. At this point, what I want to do is do an extrude. And the way I can do that here is we have different options. If I hold my left mouse button down, extrude region, manifold, along normals, individual, and so forth. I want along normals. So that's where I am. And before I do anything, what I need to do is select the polygons that I'm going to extrude. So the simplest way to get all of them all the way across is go into my wireframe mode first, and then go to solid. And now let's see which way we're going to do this. If I go in the one direction, you can see that it's the invisible side which shows. So I'm going to go the other direction, right about like that. And now I think that I am in pretty good shape. Okay. All right. So now we want to make this a little bit rounder. And the way that we're going to do that is, first of all, go to the object mode by hitting tab. And over here, we're going to move from object properties down to the modifiers. And hit object modifier, generate multi-resolution, and add a subdivision. So now you can see that it's rounded, more round than what it was before, which is what I want. If I want this transition to be a little bit sharper, what I can do is I can go to this edge loop, hit 2, hold Alt, click on this, and let's just move it down a little bit like that. So it's tighter between this one and the other one. And if I go back now to the object mode, you'll see that this is slightly sharper. Okay? If I were to add another one of these edge loops, let's go back to that. And do it. Looks like we have like the inside of this that needs to be going down as well too. So we've got to be careful of that. So I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt. And I'm going to bring that one down as well. Just ever so slightly. And obviously, we could do all this work before we add the thickness to the object, but I figured I'd just go ahead and do it like this anyway. So what we're going to do now is going to hit a right click, and we're going to cut a new edge loop in here. And we're going to slide it down about like that. And I can probably expand it just like this. Oops. Control Z. You're going to be a little bit careful with that now. A little bit careful. Just a little bit. Okay. Now, if we go back to the to the object mode, now you can see that that transition is a little bit sharper. Okay. Now that we've done this, and you can play with this in different ways as well. I want to make this not so edgy, and I can do that by right-clicking on this, and obviously we need to be in the edit mode again, so let's go to that one more time. And what I'm going to do then is Z wireframe number 3 to go to all the polygons. Those are selected. Z again, back to solid. And I'm going to go to right, and what we want is shade smooth. So now, when we go back to the object mode, you'll see that we have a much more smooth looking shape than what we had before. And even here, the definition to this is a lot stronger as well too. But just to experiment, let's see what happens if I do this, is that I go ahead and go back to number 3, Alt, and if I were to get rid of this particular edge loop, so I wanted just all the edges right there, and let's go back to the object mode, and you can see that it's a little bit smoother and a little bit of a different transition there. So that was that.